Okay, for this class, Math 118 Business Calculus, we put online, but I will run the class just like you attend the actual classroom. Okay, so I put all the information on Canvas online. Also, I sent you a copy of the notes for the whole class, and also the answer keys for the notes. Everything is there. Also, they are posted on the Canvas online as well. So, if you have questions, then you can text me. My phone number is or you can email me to my school's email address. It's all posted online, and you can find it on your syllabus as well. Okay, we will gradually explain to you where to look for your information. So, today we are going to cover the first part. So for week 1, if you look at your syllabus online, you will find out for the week 1, it's all about the review, and which you have learned from math, all the algebra classes, math 154A here. Okay, so today we are going to review the things called functions. Functions we haven't talked about it. We already talked about it in math 152A and math 154A class. And so we will do a quick review. So what are functions? Before we go into business calculus, all that. And all the calculus and algebra all rely on the concept of functions. So let's talk about what they are, okay? So for your information, I give you one blank, all the notes and blank notes for you to fill in, and you can use that to fill in just like you do it in class, or you can use the answer keys for the notes, then follow through the class as well. Okay, so for the class, we will follow the notes exactly, pretty much one by one, so you have something you can go back and to check. So we are going to talk about functions and what are they. So first, we will introduce you the name, then we talk about vocabularies and what do they mean. Then we talk about how to use them, okay? So for functions, I'm going to double define first. Then what kind of things we'll call functions? And they have to be what? Functional. Okay, so basically, we talk about what kind of things are functional. What do you think? What kind of things are functional? Right? Say, talk about what is the function of your car. What do you think? it will be to take you from point A to point B, right? To commute. So then for math, we will find out what kind of things we say functional. It's working, right? What kind of things we call it's working or not. So let's take a look. If I say, all right, we just use the local example, and we have a Safeway. Okay, if you go to Safeway or you go to Rallies, then you are going to buy this turkey. Then it says, okay, it lists to say, okay, 1 to 10 pounds, I'm going to sell $10.99 per pound. And so, then they say, okay, above 10 pounds, all the way to 20 pounds, then they are going to sell you $16.99. Okay, so if you have this 12-pound turkey, what do you think how much you should pay? It tells you, oops, should be $16.99. Okay, then if you go to Rallies, then it says, okay, if 1 to 12 pounds, and it will charge you $11.99. However, there is another tag. Say, okay, above 10 pounds to 20 pounds, it will charge you, say, $15.99. So if you have a 12-pound turkey, then you take it to the counter. What do you think? How much they will charge you? Okay, 12 pounds. You say, okay, $11.99. However, between 10 and 20 pounds, it says $15.99. So what do you think of which one you should pay for? Confusing, right? So if you call the manager, well, they just say, okay, give you a cheaper one. But the second person come again, you still encounter the same problem. Then we cannot do business this way. So will this one work? Say, right? Will this work? No. But if you are at a Safeway, will this work? Yes. What's the difference? Right? What happened is, for each turkey, you should only have one price. If you have two prices, it's super confusing. Okay, so for math, then, okay, we say is something we call X, something we call Y. X is how many pounds of turkey, Y would be your value, the prices, okay? So for each pound of turkey, then we should only have what? One price. That means for each X value, we should only have what? Has one Y value. Like this one, for each X, 12 pounds, you have what? Two possible prices. Then it will not work. Right? So we can only have a one Y. That's why we say for each given X value on your paper, you can see we can only have how many Y value? One Y value. Okay, only one. So mathematically, we always use what? X and Y. So we use X and Y to identify what is function, what is not a function. So later on, if we ask you what is a function, then you will say what? For each X value, we can only have what? One Y value. Okay? So let's see for second portion mathematically how we will show the functions. Okay, we have 4 methods. So method 1. Okay, we will do things like this. You say, okay, 1 pound of nuts costs you $2. 2 pounds of nut costs 4. 3 pounds costs you 6. Will that work? Sure. Okay, so by doing that, we call it mapping. Okay, then method 2, second way to show how it works. Okay, we do this way. Okay, 1 pound pairs with what? $2, and 2 pounds pairs with what? $4. 3 pounds paired with what? $6. Then we put a curly there. Okay, curly symbol is the formal symbol of math. Then we put everything together. You have seen this before. What kind of things we call it? We call them ordered pairs. Right? First one is X, next one is Y. Another method we have is this way. Okay, have you seen this before? In your 152A class, right? 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 4, 3, 2, 6. Things like this, right? And it's ordered pair. It shows on the graphs. We call them what? Graphing. Okay, another way to show them is this way. Okay, have you seen this before? We say y equals 2x, right? Y equals mx plus b. We did it in 152A class. So by this way, for your graph, that will be a line. So we use what? The things we call it formula or equation. So we have 4 ways to show a function. Okay, what kind of things are functions? What kind of things are not? Let's take a look. So, and first, let's just use mapping way. Okay, so let's see. If I do this way, all right. If I have this, so if I do this, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 6. If I do this way, 1 and 2 map to 2, 3 to 4, right? Is this a function or not? Some of you will say, doesn't look like it. But think about this way. That's your X, that's your Y. So if I have nut shop, right? I sell nuts. So I say, oh, all those old nuts, either doesn't matter 1 pound or 2 pounds. Then I map to 2. I put $2 tag on that. Then 3 pounds and I put a $4 tag on. What do you think? Will it work? Of course, right? And however, you say, what kind of things is not a function? Let's take a look. So, if I do this way, if I do, okay, 1, 2, 3, then this say 2, 4, 6, 8. So, I do mapping this way. So, some 1 pound nuts, I put $2 tag on, 1 pound nuts, I put $4 tag on. Then 2-3 pounds, I put 6 and 8. Then customers will wonder, how come this 1 pound same as 1 pound? How come you have 2 prices? It gets confused. So without word, so yes or no, what do you think? So this one is yes. Why this one doesn't work? Because you have 1 pound of package, you have 2 prices. So for 1 X, you have 2 Y's, not only 1 Y. That would cause confusion. So it doesn't really work out too well. Okay, that's how we identified it. So second one, if I write it this way, I use the second method, order the pairs. 1, 2, oops. 1, 2, 2, 2, and 3, 4. Okay, is this a function or not? 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 2 to 2, 3 to 4. Yes, just like the math in first one. If I write it this way, if I write, okay, 1, 2, 1, 4, and 2, 6, and 3, 8. Without work, what do you think? Right? 1, 2, 1, 4, just like the math in second one, they are not a function. So we show you both first 2 methods, and you can see, identify them, are they function or not? Okay? Then let's check the method 3. All right, what happens if I show you a graph? And let's see how it works. So if I have a graph like this, what do you think? Is this a function? We are doing the graphing method. So if you take a look, so this line, this is your x, and this is your y. So for each x, how many y you have? Okay, for this x, I have this y. For this x, I have this y. Right? So is this a function? Yes. All right. So if you look at another one, if I have this one, if I graph like this, what do you think? Is that a function? Just like a 1 pound, 2 pound, you can all have, say, $10. Right? Without work? Yes. Because for each x, I have 1, not the 2. So I have another x, I have another y. Okay? So this one is a function. Then you wonder, what kind of things are not function? Okay? If you take a look at this, below the graph, if you have shape like this, we call sideways parabola. Okay? So I might have here, say, okay, let's look at this one. Let's look the parabola look alike. So if I have 1, 2, 3, okay, 3 here, that's my x. Okay, maybe I map to 2, also x is 3, maybe it's 3, -2. I have 2 points. So what do you think? Do we have a function? Because you have 1 x value, you have 2 y value, so this one is no. Okay, so how we actually decide? So we call it this way. We call what? Look at the sideway. All right, your paper, we call it vertical line test. So you use a vertical line, you take a look. If it meets two places, you have two y value, that means it's not. So vertical line test, so intersect the graph more than one point, so it's not. So if you take a look and this way, so like this, what do you think? This one is yes. Okay? And if you look the hyperbola, not the hyperbola, parabola, we are going to learn how to graph this. Oh no, we did it in 154A class. So, but we will review those as well. So you do vertical line test. Is this a function? Yes. Okay. So, if you have things like this, you learn this 154 class, like circle, ellipse, are those a function? Are those functions? No, not those. Okay, and if you look like, if you have vertical line, do you think this is a function? One x value, 5, you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, map to many y's. So this one is not a function. Okay, how about this one? So if you have this value, okay, so x is 2, y can be 4 or -4. Is this a function? No. So you just use the vertical line test to decide. Okay, so we described what are functions, and we will show you how, if I ask you what is a function, how you will describe exactly, formally, mathematically. Okay, then we will look the next one for more definition of the function. Okay, let's continue. So I talk slowly so you can follow along, think, and reason at the same time. Okay, let's continue. So we say for a function, and if I ask you what is a function, how would you answer formally? We will do this way, okay? A function is functional, you know of, and we will say a function is on your page 2. A function is a set of what? Ordered pairs, right? From x to y, for each x, you only have one y value. So for each x value, we will have what? Exactly one y value. Okay, and this ordered pair, we call them what? Ordered pair, a function, right? We call this, mathematically, we call them relation. So what is a relation? So math is to learn the relation. How do we get from point A to point B? That means how can we get from x to y? So that's all the algebra talk about, okay? Also, that's all the math for algebra portion we are talking about is a relation. How to you get from point A to B, from x to y. Okay, since it's x and y, for the x things you use, we call it domain. for all the x value, we call domain. For the y value, it's called range. So if I sell nuts, nuts are my domain, right? The range would be the price value, price range. So that's how, if I ask you, what is a function, how you will answer? You will say, oh, it's a set of ordered pairs, right? For each x value, you only have one y value. Let's see. So let's learn the symbol as well. So if I have this one, okay, so if I have, say, y equals 4x minus 1, and also y equals 4x squared minus 5. So if I say x is 6, what is y? You will ask me, which y do you want, right? So we are going to differentiate them because they are functions. So to differentiate them, which function we are going to use? So we do this way, all right? Because from x to y, I say this is f. I follow alphabetical order. This will be g. Where is f from? It's from x gathered to y. So this one we will say g of x. So that's the symbol we use from x to y. So actually f of x means what? Your y. G of x means your y. So that's the symbol we use. F means function, G means a function. The domain is from x, the range to y. Okay? Y is the range, which is f of x. You are going to use this in your pre-calculus class. So, if I ask you to do this, say, what is f of 6? What do we need to do? What does it ask you? It means what? When my x is 6, what is my y? So all you have to do is to what? Plug in. Which one? First one, because it's f. So you plug in x is 6 minus 1. So what do you have? That will be the value of f of x. So we are learning the symbols of functions. So if I ask you g of 2, what do you need to do? What does that mean? So it means what? When x is 2, what is your y? Which function you are going to use? Use g. So you plug in 4, 2 squared minus 5. This is 4 times 4, 16 minus 5. So the answer is 11. Doing it is not that hard, but you need to know what do symbol mean. So if we have this one, if f of half, what does that mean? When x is half, what's your y value according to first function? So you plug in half minus 1. So you multiply them, right? So what do we have? 1. That's your answer. So if we have g -3, what do you need to do? X is -3. What's your g value? You plug in the second function. So you better put a parenthesis around your variable so you will take care of the sign. -3 squared is what? 9. So 4 times 9, 36, minus 1, 31. So that will be your answer. That's how we handle it. Okay, so we just learned the symbols of the function. Let's see next one. We talk about domain and range. So if I write the function this way, Okay, functions are what? The ordered pairs, right? So we write this x and y's. So we say, is this a function? Yes, because for each x, you only have one y value. Okay, then what's the domain and range? Domain is what? All possible x values. So that's your x values. So we write it this way, 1, 2, 3. Then we use curly bracket to put as a set. It's a formal symbol of the math. It's curly bracket. Okay, so that's your domain. What's your range? Range will be what? 5, 10, oops, that's 15. Otherwise, it would not be a function. Sorry. Okay, 5, 10, 15. Right? So what's your, so if we learn this before, we use this kind of symbol, T-table, to show domain and range. Okay? So let's see. For that's, we say we have several ways to show a function. If we use ordered pairs, that's how we will do it. And let's take a look. If I have this, we also say you can show the function with equations. We haven't shown you yet, right? So let's take a look. If I have this is a function. You don't know why yet. And you will learn this in pre-calculus. So if I have this one, right? So if I ask you, ooh, what is F5? What are you going to do? It's a fraction. Fraction, you have a restriction. That means what? Denominator cannot be 0. That means what? X cannot be what? 1. If it's 1, make denominator 0. So if f of 5, what do we need to do? We plug in x as 5. What do we have? That will be your value of the y, right? So if we ask you, oh, what's your domain? We say, domain is all possible x values. So what's your x? Formal way of writing it, we do this way. We use curly bracket, say x is the value you are going to use. However, put a bar there, describe the restriction. X is real number, but cannot be 1. That's formally we write it this way. If for the range, what do you think? Okay, so, and actually it's for all the y value, y cannot be 0. You wouldn't know how to get this. And because you have to see the graphs, what happened to the graphs, then you don't know yet, okay? And what you need to do is use the calculator, because y equals 1, you need to use calculator to graph this. Also, you can use the computer. We say you can use it, go to this side. Easy to use. For 2D or 3D graphs. I wrote it down on your page 1 on the top. So you can graph, just type in y equals 1, y equals 1 divided by x minus 1 to graph it. Then you will see the graph, y cannot be 0. So that will be the answer. Okay, we will not test you on this because until I show you how to use calculator. So for the second one, if I have this one, I say this is my function. I have this one. So you have two things. You have to learn what is fraction, what is radical, and you have a restriction, right? And what kind of restriction you have on the radicals? We say on the radical inside of a even rule, okay? So like square root of 0 is what? 0, that's fine. Square root of 1, you are fine. But the -1 is not a real number. So we say doesn't exist, okay, on your computer. So anything below the 0, you cannot take a square root, because anything take a square, you cannot be a negative number. So there is restriction. If x, that means what? X inside of radical has to be what? Greater than 2, right? So x cannot be a negative number. So that's a restriction for the radicals. So if we ask you, oh, what is g of 27? What does that mean? You plug in. So it's 27 minus 2, which is square root of 25, which is 5. Okay? Then if we ask you, what's the domain? Domain, this one is what? All the possible x value for this one is z, okay? Z has to be what? Bigger than or greater than 2. So make it inside of the radicals is 0 or positive. Then actually, we will talk about how to graph this one, okay? For range, you have to see the graphs for you to be able to decide. So we have this from 154 class, okay? So for square root of x, the graph would be what? Half of a sideways parabola, right? Then minus 2 means what? You shift the opposite and move to 2 position will look like this. So that means that's the graph of what? X minus 2. That's your y. Right? So what kind of y value is that? You can see y value is this way. That means what? Your y is what? Bigger than 0. We will review this more when we go through the function transformation and graphing part. So I do need to show you how to use calculator. Or we can just go to the website and graph it. Then you should be able to, you practice. Go to this side, practice, plug in y equals what? X minus 2. Then you can see the graph to be able to decide, okay? But for now, we just get the concept of function. Then we will show you how to graph more and the transformation and later, okay? Then you'll be okay. Also, we say you can show the function with the formula equations or order the pairs or graphs, okay? We say you do what? Vertical line tests. So to decide if it is function or not. So now we are learning domain and range from graphing. So for first one, take a look. If I have here to there, this is a 5, 4, this is a -3 and 2. What do you think your domain is? Domain is what? All possible x value. That's your x, right? So each point on the line is your x and y. So what's your x value? From here to there, right? So from -3 to 5. So your domain is what? -3 to 5, or inclusive. we use interval notation, means beginning point and the end point, to describe. That means everything in between is part of a domain. For range, it's all possible value. That means how high you can jump up and down. Domain is how far you can go from left to right. Okay, so what is your range? -2 to 4. And second one, let's see. If we do this all the way, that means your x, how far you can go left and right forever, right? So all the way infinity negative, infinity to the right positive. Or you can write 2 double line and with R. That's a formal math symbol of all real numbers. What's your range? How high you can jump up and down? Same thing. How far you can go down, right? For the infinities, you always use parentheses. And if you have this one, this line going down, right? But for your domain and range, still the same. How far you can go left and right, and how far you can go up and down, or real number. If we have this one, if we go -4 all the way to up here to here. Okay, if this is 5, 2 and -4 and -1. For interval notation, you don't write any middle point. You only write the end point. From where to the end, everything in between is inclusive. So what's your left and right? Before to the right, it's 5. For the range, how far you can jump up and down, it's a -1 and 2. Okay, so for interval notation, you always write what? From smaller number to the larger numbers. Okay. So we are deciding the domain and range from the graphs. So that's number 4. Let's see. Number 5. If I have graphs this way, right? So here is 3, 2. What's your domain? How far I can go left and right? So, according to the things we are talking about function, is the point on the graph and all the x and y points. Okay? So you will have what? For this one, left and right, continue to extend. So it's all real number. And what is your range? How far you can jump up and down? You can jump down forever, -infinity, all the way to where? The y position, inclusive. Okay? So, let's see. Number 6. The graph is what? Like this. So, okay, maybe 3 and 4, that's that point. What's your domain? How far you can go left and right? -infinity, infinity, right? Range, all the y value, possibly how far you can go up and down. So, oops, that's a -4. So that will be what? From -4 all the way up to infinity. Then inclusive, including this point. So you will write it with bracket. Okay, let's see. Number 7. Okay, you learn this in What's your domain? Left and right, right? Negative infinity to infinity. What's your range? Up, from 0 up. So it's 0 to infinity. How about this one? Number 8. You have what? Upside down parabola. So this point is -1 and 4. What do you think your domain is? How far you can go left and right? All real numbers. How far you can jump up and down? Up to 4. You always write from smaller number to the larger number, all the way to 4. Okay? So let's see. Number 9. And we have this graph. Oops. So we have here -4, 3. Then you go through -1, -1. Come down here. You go up again to the 4, 5. Then you come down again to where? 6 and -2. What do you think your domain is? How far you can go left and right? Left, right. All the way for x to the right. To 6. With bracket. What's your range? Up and down. How far you can go up and down? Highest 5, lowest -2. Always write a small number to the larger number. Okay? For 10. Horizontal line. Is this a function? Vertical line test. Right? So this number map to 2. So what's your domain? All possible x values. How far you can go left and right? Of course, all real numbers. What's your range? How far you can go jump up and down? You cannot go down, you cannot go up, except at that place. That means what? Just one point, which is 2. But we write it formally this way. If just single number, you put a curly around it. Okay? Next one. If you have this one, just one line straight. Is this a function? Test. It's not a function. If it's not a function, we don't talk about domain and value. Okay, that's your page 3. So that's section 1.1.